there, it's me, Teacher Mike from phuketpals.org. Welcome back to another video. And this is in fact the last video of the extended response series that we're doing at this point. So, if you've enjoyed things and you find it useful, why not subscribe to the Phuket Pals YouTube page and also click the little bell as well, and you'll get tons more free stuff from us as time goes on. Okay, so on with this video. In this one, we're going to look at an extended response, what you'd see on the real test itself. So we'll look at two articles and we'll think about how to read these, how to approach these, how to pick out the writer's evidence or the arguments that he makes, and then we'll kind of evaluate that evidence and see which of the evidence we find pardon me, the most convincing, and then we'll look at a model answer which writes a full essay explaining all of this. Okay, so get strapped in, and this should be a good screencast. It should be a nice little end, a little bookend, shall we say, to this particular series of videos. If this is the first time you're watching any of the videos in this series, I strongly advise you to go back and check out the other extended response videos, as they will very much help you understand what all of this is about. And maybe in this video it might go a little bit over your head. If that's the case, just go back to the start and work your way through the series. Right, so as you can see, Article 1, here we are. Article 1 is a press release from the office of U.S. Representative Melody Walls, United States House of Representatives, Washington, D.C. Okay, so here we have someone from the House of Representatives. Her name is Melody Walls. This is a press release of her. So this is information about what she's doing in government that she has released to the media. So this will be quite a formal read. We know that from the off. What's it all about? Well, Representative Walls, that's the lady, she announces an economic boost for the 12th District, July 17, 2013. Okay, so this representative is proposing an economic boost for a particular area called the 12th District at this time here. Okay, and it says Washington, D.C., Representative Melody Walls announces that Congress passed the Highway and Transit Bill today. Okay, so Congress passed the Highway and Transit Bill. So this is something to do with roads and the federal funding and creation of those. So let's see what it's all about. Now, as we read through, you'll see in red, I've highlighted in red here. Let me get the pointer. I've highlighted in red here. These are things that I've picked out that really we can use in the essay itself. It's evidence or opinions or just things that we can use to back up our points in the essay. And what I'll do is I'll read through all of the article first, then we'll go back and kind of think, why did we pick out these things in red, and how might these be valuable in an essay later on. Okay, so let's get to it. We'll start. This bill funds the expansion of Highway 17 from a 2-lane highway to a 4-lane thoroughfare. It will positively affect the town of Oak Falls. Walls said, as part of the expansion, Highway 17 will move 2 miles east to the town of Oak Falls. The bill will ease traffic congestion and create job opportunities during and after construction. Last year, Representative Walls held town meetings to gather opinions from her constituents about revitalising the economy in the 12th District. 2 years ago, Turnaround Motors and Bell Camera closed their factory doors. The result has been high unemployment with no immediate prospect for new businesses. Representative Walls heard residents' concerns for the jobs in the district. Improving the highway means jobs for local construction workers. Once completed, the highway will bring more long-distance travellers into the area. Some officials anticipate a 30% increase in highway traffic due to the ease of travelling on the improved Highway 17. An increase in travellers will attract national motel and restaurant chains along the highway route. These national businesses will mean permanent jobs for residents. In the future, historical features in Oak Falls and Gaston, such as brick streets built by early settlers and the old wheat mill, will likely become popular tourist attractions. More visitors will increase business for local shops and restaurants. The improved highway will eliminate 18-wheeler traffic through the towns, a major source of traffic congestion and noise. A 2001 study in Texas showed that bypasses reduce traffic through towns by as much as 75%. Eliminating 18-wheeler traffic will also reduce road maintenance costs. The improvement of Highway 17, funded by federal tax allocations, is an important investment in the area. Okay, so that's the end of Article 1. Now remember, in this extended response, your task is to decide whether the arguments in Article 1 or the arguments in Article 2 are better supported by evidence contained within them. So what I've done in Article 1 here and in Article 2, as you'll see in a minute, is I've highlighted in red some of the bits that we can use in the essay. Okay. Let's just have a little look. This will make more sense once we've read Article 2 as well. But I've highlighted things here like positively affect the town of Oak Falls. Okay. Remember, we're looking to say why these things in the article are, why one article is better supported than the other. Okay. So let's just have a look. Positively affect the town of Oak Falls. Well, we could argue that's an opinion. And remember, opinions are not as strong as facts. Facts will always triumph, will always win over opinion in this type of essay situation when you have to say which one is better supported. You're looking for weak and strong evidence. Weak evidence are things like opinions and assumptions. Strong evidence are things like statistics, scientific studies, and facts in general. Okay, it says here also, Turnaround Motors and Bell Camera closed their factory doors. Okay, so that's a fact. High unemployment is a fact. No immediate prospect for new businesses. Okay, so this will become, you'll see why this is important once we kind of get into Article 2 as well. Again, we really get into the meat of the article here. This representative claims that there'll be jobs created for local construction workers. She states that there'll be more long-distance travelers into the area. Okay. Now, have a look. We have to start thinking about how to evaluate this. So, more jobs for local construction workers. That may or may not be a fact. It probably will be a fact because you need a lot of workers to make a highway. Okay, so we could argue that that is a fact. More jobs for construction workers. More long-distance travelers into the area. Well, again, we have to say that's pure assumption. There's no way they can possibly know that, and that's an educated guess. So, with Representative Walls saying more long-distance travelers will come into the area as a result of the highway, they can't guarantee that. They say officials anticipate a 30% increase in highway traffic. Again, this is speculation. Okay, this is an educated guess, let's call it. Be aware of statistics like this that are based on guesswork. It's kind of a weak argument. And that's something we'll probably pick up on in our essay later. An increase in travellers will attract national motel and restaurant chains along the highway route. Well, again, that's probably true. Where there are highways and thoroughfares, you get, multinational corporations buying up that expensive, that quality land and making business on it. So that's probably true. Permanent jobs for local residents. Well, again, that's probably true. If there are national motel and restaurant chains, there will be permanent jobs for local people who live in that area. But as we'll see later on when we analyse Article 2, this although this is a fact, it doesn't mean that this article is better, has the stronger argument. Okay, so something to remember when you do this is when you do the extended response is that both of the articles you read will have facts, both will have evidence, both will have opinions. But it's our job as GED RLA Extended Response students to figure out which of these facts, which of these opinions, etc., have more weight behind them. Okay, now that weight can be created by who the person is. And we might say, Representative Wells, she is a federal representative. She's obviously an educated person. So maybe her conjecture here has, or her assumptions and her projections for the future, most probably are true. You might think that. However, as we'll see from Article 2, maybe it's not always the case, okay? And I don't want to give too much away before we move into Article 2, but you need to keep a very open mind when you're reading both of these articles. Next bit here, it says, in the future, historical features in Oak Falls and Glaston, such as the brick streets and the old wheat mill, things like that, will become popular tourist attractions. Again, there's no way the representative can know this for sure. Okay, you can't say 100% that these places will become tourist attractions. Perhaps they will, perhaps they won't. Okay, so you can see that this argument isn't that strong. More visitors will increase business for local shops and restaurants. Perhaps if they come into the local town. Who knows? Then here, you can see here, it's Representative Walls. She cites a 2001 study in Texas that showed that bypass traffic reduces traffic through towns by as much as 75%. Okay, and she says this is great because this will get rid of the 18-wheeler traffic, which causes high levels of maintenance cost. Again, on first read here, you think, on first read you think, great, she has a study, okay, a study with an objective look at what bypass traffic does and its outcomes. And again, that would, for the kind of weaker student for ER, they would say, yeah, that study's a good thing, so therefore her argument is stronger. But as we'll see from Article 2 when we read it closely, the writer of Article 2 does rebut this with some force. So just be careful. Just because you see a study cited in one doesn't mean that it's the stronger argument. Okay, again, as I say, keep an open mind when you're doing this and read closely. Right, so we'll move on then to Article 2. Here it is. Article 2 is a different type of article entirely. It's Oak Falls Gazette letter to the editor. Okay, so we have someone writing a letter to the editor of a newspaper called the Oak Falls Gazette. Here we go. Again, we'll read through it first, and then we'll focus on this red language that I've highlighted and say, what we'll kind of analyze together. I am a small business owner living in Representative Wall's congressional district. A bill has been passed to expand Highway 17 from a 2-lane highway to a 4-lane thoroughfare. This change includes plans to move Highway 17 2 miles to the east, which means it will now bypass our town completely. I find this unacceptable. The Gazette reports that because Highway 17 runs through 6 states, construction will be paid for with federal road funds. That means some of our federal taxes will pay for a road that I believe will harm our town. I also believe that few residents of Oak Falls will use the road. Our town and district will lose money as a result of this highway bypass paid for by our tax dollars. The road construction jobs are only a temporary bandage on the wound made by our 2 manufacturers closing their doors. Once the road construction is finished, only minimum wage jobs will remain. In fact, the highway will bypass 4 cities in our district alone. Each of these towns will lose business because fewer travellers will pass through them and eat, stay overnight or purchase gas. There's no guarantee that tourists will drive an extra 2 miles into our town if national chain motels and restaurants are built at the highway exits. The 2001 study, Representative Wells references, does show that bypasses reduce traffic and noise in towns, but the study also shows they have a negative impact on local businesses. If this project were paid for with state tax money alone, angry voters would have struck it down. Representative Walls held town meetings to hear residents' opinions about the local economy, but obviously she did not listen to the concerns they voiced. Please consider local concerns about this federal project. Okay, so a strongly worded article there from this concerned local. So let's dig into this a little bit and see what's going on. Now, I've done this before with students, and many students in the past have automatically said, Article 1 is the better supported. Article 1 is from a federal representative, and it cites studies, it has this, that, so it's stronger. I don't think so. Okay, I think that Article 2 is a much stronger, it's a much better supported article. The arguments are much better supported within it. Let's look at why that is the case. Well, we'll look at the arguments presented first, then we'll compare the two. Okay, so here we have a small business owner living in Representative Wall's congressional district. Now, something you have to keep in mind if you want to do well in the ER is you need to think, who is the person writing the article, and does that give their argument more validity? Think about this person, a small business owner. Are they more likely to have their finger on the pulse of what's happening in this district? Or is a federal representative who has held one meeting with local people more likely to have local interests at heart? I think it's the latter. I think it's the former. I really think Article 2 here, this small business owner, they would be in the community every day. They're talking to people. They're organizing things and living at grassroots. Whereas Representative Walls is going to be doing things from Washington, and it's much less likely that the federal representative knows what's going on at this local level. So I think automatically after this first sentence, this is a big plus point for the arguments contained within Article 2. This person is much more likely to know what's going on in this area. Okay, so that's the first thing. We can see here that the proposed highway will run through 6 states, paid for with federal road funds. Okay, so this is a federal project that is going to impact at a state level. And you'll see why that's important in a minute. The writer here describes the construction jobs as a temporary bandage. That's a metaphor. A temporary bandage on the wound made by our 2 manufacturers closing their door. Okay, so Representative Walls says that it's wonderful. We're going to create lots of construction jobs. That'll be good for the economy. However, the writer of Article 2 is saying that these are only a temporary bandage, like a Band-Aid on the wound. So when these 2 manufacturing plants closed down, it created a deep wound in the local community. And getting a few construction jobs that Representative Walls proposes will only temporarily help solve this problem. So it's a temporary solution being offered by this federal level representative. The local people don't buy this at all. Only minimum wage jobs will remain. Okay, so although it looks good on paper, it'll look good statistically at a federal level that we've created all these jobs. But when you dig a bit deeper and you figure out these are only minimum wage jobs, well, does that really, impact positively for the long term on this local community? Perhaps not. Next paragraph. The highway will bypass 4 cities in our district alone. Each of these towns will lose business because fewer travellers will pass through them and eat, stay overnight, or purchase gas. Again, that's an opinion. but it probably has quite a lot of validity contained within it. If these cities are being bypassed, then obviously business will suffer. So although the writer has no absolute evidence to make this call, it's based on what we already know. It's probably highly likely this will be the case. And moving on, there's no guarantee that tourists will drive an extra 2 miles into our town if national chain motels and restaurants are built at the highway gates. Okay, so Representative Walls stated that tourism would be positively affected in the towns, but again, it's highly unlikely that tourists, how many tourists ever go way off the beaten track? Are they really going to drive down minor roads when they can and stay in a hotel if they can just just bounce off that highway and stay for a quick night's sleep before they continue their travels? I think the writer of Article 2 is spot on here. He's right on what probably will happen. And again, remember, when you're arguing an ER, because this person is a small business owner from this area, he has a very good idea of how things probably will operate here. And although he is making an assumption about the future, I think he knows a lot more about what's really going on and what will probably happen than the federal representative. And again, he's saying at the end here, a negative impact on local business. Then we have state money alone. If the project were paid for by state money alone, angry voters would have struck it down. Okay, so here we have, local people in the state are feeling hard done by. They feel that their businesses and life in general are going to be negatively affected by this federal project. And they're saying that if it was a state-run project, they would have been vehemently against it and voted against it and brought it down. Because it's a federal level project, they can't do that. So they're going to have to suck it up. They're going to have to grin and bear all the negativity and all the economic downturn, I suppose, that could come as a result of this. So again, I think that adds validity to Article 2's argument here, because if a state is going to be impacted in this way, there's no way they're going to vote for it. So I think definitely that adds weight to the argument. Okay, so that's the two articles read through. Let's kind of compare them on this by looking at these post-reading thoughts. Both articles present positions supported by facts and opinions. That's like I said earlier in the video. Don't be fooled. When you look at the ER articles, don't think because you read one of them and it sounds good and you pick out lots of studies and facts and things that one will automatically be the better one. No, both articles will contain facts and opinions, but you have to kind of sort them. You have to pick them out first and then sort them and evaluate which of the facts and opinions are stronger. Both of the articles, A and B, make a good case, but the letter has the stronger arguments. Okay, that's what we talked about. Okay, so Article A, the letter to the newspaper, definitely has stronger arguments. The letter states the fact that federal tax dollars will pay for the road, thus the district did not have a say. This is an absolute fact, okay? Undeniable fact. The letter states the opinion that few residents will use the road. Okay, now on first glance, I suppose a less sophisticated student might think, oh, that's only the opinion of the letter writer. Therefore, it's not a strong supporting piece of information. Well, it actually is quite strong, because the local business owner would know more about the locals' driving preferences than the federal representative. So this gives the opinion some credibility. It doesn't mean it's a golden nugget of wisdom. Okay, it just means it's more credible than someone sitting behind their mahogany desk at the federal level. Okay, this local person he knows how people drive in his local area and what the likelihood is of them driving that way in the future. So the letter says the fact that construction jobs will be temporary. Okay, and in Article A, this is stated. These construction jobs are kind of stated as something that that's great. It's wonderful. You know, we're creating jobs. Politicians love to say we're creating jobs, but very rarely do politicians dig into the nature of those jobs or the quality of those jobs or the lastability of those jobs. So these jobs, construction jobs are temporary, and once those people have done their contract, then what's next? Who knows? The press release, so that should be 2 S's, not 3. The press release praises these jobs, but the fact is they're not a long-term solution to the area's unemployment problems. Okay, we know that 2 manufacturing plants closed in that local area. So, these would have been full-time jobs, perhaps careers for life. Temporary construction jobs are not a solution to that. The press release states a weak argument that new gas stations, motels, etc. will create jobs for locals. The letter writer points out these jobs will be low paid only. Okay, so again, politicians will often talk about how they've created so many jobs in a new area. But again, that's not a strong argument. If these jobs are, gas station attendants or motel room service or whatever, not that there's anything wrong with these jobs, someone has to do it. But the fact is that those jobs will be low paid or minimum wage, and it's not really that great for the long-term future of the area. It doesn't give people a lot of spending power. It doesn't give them a lot of money in their pockets to pump, spend in local businesses, and so it's not amazing. The letter cites the 2001 study facts, not mentioned in the press release. So the letter, that's Article 2, cites the 2001 study facts, not mentioned in the press release. Okay, so facts were omitted. Things were left out in Article A. That Article B then says, okay, that may be the case, that bypass roads reduce traffic. However, what did he say again? Where is it? Okay, yes, here, the last sentence. The 2001 study, Representative Wall's references does not show that bypass reduces traffic and noise, and does show that bypasses reduce traffic and noise in towns, but the study also shows they have a negative impact on local business. Okay, a negative impact on local business. That fact was left out. That fact found by this study, we can presume, was left out by the federal representative. And it's a big one. Okay, that changes, that's a game changer completely. Okay, so it's interesting how in the first article, little facts are omitted, and that make a big difference in the overall credibility of the argument. The final thing here is letter speculates few cars will leave the highway. Okay, again, that's speculation, but credible based on the local business owners, local knowledge, etc., as we've mentioned. Okay, so that's both. They are the facts, opinions, and arguments, and all of that we need to kind of work into our model answer, our essay. I'm going to show you one now. Okay, now just for the record, this is from an official answer from GED Testing Services. I wanted to give you one that was given by GED Testing Services themselves, so it's from the horse's mouth, shall we say. Let's look at the introduction. Both the press release and the letter to the editor offer positions that are supported by both fact and opinion. The press release seeks to exhort the new bill for expansion of Highway 17, while the letter argues that passing the bill could prove detrimental to the district. While both sides make an acceptable case, the latter provides a stronger argument. Okay, so notice what we're doing in the introduction here. Okay, both the press release and the letter to the editor offer positions that are supported by both fact and opinion. Okay, you can pretty much say that in every essay. So I would use this sentence as a template more than anything. You want to compare. Okay, this is not an essay where you say, I think Article A is better supported for these reasons, blah, 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 and then you talk about them for the rest of the essay. No, that's not what you have to do. You have to compare the two. Okay, and you'll see that as we progress through this example. The press release seeks to exhort a new bill for the expansion of Highway 17. Okay, so this sentence is just telling us what Article A is all about and what Article B is all about. And again, you can do that in any essay. Okay, so again, use this as a very good template for your practice. While both sides make an acceptable case, the latter provides a stronger argument. And again, I would use this lovely little complex sentence beginning with while as in any extended response essay you do. Okay, we won't have time in this video to get into the sentence structure of this particular essay, but yeah, that'll be for a later video. Let's look at body 1. Let's see what it's all about. One example of the letter's stronger argument is the explanation that federal tax dollars pay for the road, as it will incorporate 6 different states, therefore eliminating this particular state's ability to strike the bill down. Okay, so that's the topic sentence there. That is saying that this letter has a stronger argument because this federal funded project kind of steps on the toes, shall we say, of those people living at state level who will be affected by its outcome. Okay, so that's a strong argument to make. Now, what's the consequence of this? Well, this proves with factual information, okay, giving the why here, this is a fact. This proves with factual information that the district did not have a fair say in the bill. Okay, now this sentence is important. This proves it with factual information. If you want to get a high points in ER, you need to say why the argument is stronger, and we do that here. Let's explain it a bit more. The notion that few residents will use the road that their tax dollars are providing is an opinion. Okay, so this is an opinion given by the writer of Article 2, and opinions, as very often we're told, are weak arguments, but in this case it's not so weak because of who this person is. So contrast linking word, however, a resident and small business owner in the town is more credible in the awareness of the town's concern as compared to a representative who attended a few meetings in the town hall. Okay, so that's a strong paragraph. Okay, strong paragraph indeed. And you can see that it's got two main points in there. The first one about the federal funding for a state, for something that affects the state level, and the second one about the opinion, the valid opinion of the local resident, and about just about his concerns here. Okay, so in body 2, yeah, he makes a good point as well. Like this local resident will be on the ground all the time. He'll be talking to people. He knows what goes on in the area. However, this federal representative, she's only come to a few meetings in the town hall, as we're told in one of the articles. So who would you say knows more about the situation? Body 2. Another example of the better supported argument in the letter is the reference to the construction jobs as temporary. Okay, now again, note the linking language here. One example, okay, one example. We have another example here. So we're linking everything together nicely. You need to use these linking phrases. It gives you cohesion. It means your essay links together like a jigsaw. And that's what you want. You get points for that. So again, use this as a template. Okay, so the construction jobs are temporary. The press release praises the new jobs. Okay, so notice we're actually making comparisons between the articles here. So the press release praises the new jobs created by the highway construction, and this is a valid point. Yeah, fair enough. However, the author of the letter is correct in the fact that the jobs will not create a boom in the district's economy or fill the gap caused by the closures in the manufacturing plants, as the press release leads listeners to believe. Okay. So yeah, like definitely in Article 1, the federal representative Walls, she definitely is stating this job creation as something great. But when you dig a little deeper and analyse a bit more, as the writer of Article 2 does, you quickly realise that this is kind of smoke and mirrors, and that the jobs will not only be low paid but temporary. the road construction does not solve the long-term issue of unemployment in the town. Okay, in addition, so here's another, we're going to add another point here. Again, linking phrase. In addition, the author of the letter counters the argument that new motels, restaurants and gas stations along the highway will create permanent jobs for the residents of the town. Okay, so we're paraphrasing there from Article A. She explains that, quote, direct quotation, only minimum wage jobs will remain. This is a valid argument also, as unemployed residents that need enough income to support a household will not be much better off. Providing restaurant or motel jobs is very unlikely to feed or support an entire family. Okay, so we're analysing there. It will not pick up the laid off employees from the manufacturing plants who may have worked for many years towards promotions and a pension. Okay, so we're expanding the idea there and analysing it a bit more. So you can see there that is a very strong argument made by Article 2 that only minimum wage jobs will remain. You think about it, if you have two major manufacturing plants in an area, people would have been working in these places, for all their career. They've been trying to climb the ladder of promotion and do better for their families. If you've got these temporary jobs coming in, constructing a motorway, these are there's nowhere to go with these jobs. You get paid what you get paid and that's it. So this is not a solution to the area's problems whatsoever. And that's quite rightly pointed out by the writer of Article 2. Next paragraph, linking language again. Another example of the letter's stronger argument is the author's explanation of the 2001 study. She concedes that the representative is correct. Okay, so we're comparing here. She concedes that the representative is correct in citing that the bypasses are proven to reduce noise and traffic in the town. But she argues that the study shows a negative effect on local businesses. This piece of the study was not mentioned by Representative Walls or the press release and is a proven fact. Okay, so proven fact again, that's the why coming in there. This draws more credibility to the argument in the letter. Okay, now again, because we find out that these facts have been omitted by the federal representative, this is a red flag automatically. She's cherry picking what she wants to state from this study to make it fit with her narrative. And it's smart work, smart analysis, critical thinking by our friend in Article 2 writing to the newspaper, because he jumps upon this and spots that immediately and calls Representative Walls on that. So that adds a lot of credibility to his argument for sure. Okay, again, so next point, linking language. Also, although it is a speculation, it is more reasonable that travellers will stick to the main highway and not venture miles off their path into a small town when chain gas stations, restaurants and motels are conveniently located directly at the highway exits. It's less likely that old roads in the town will become historical locations, attracting tourists and boosting small business sales. Okay, that kind of is self-explanatory. Then the final paragraph, the conclusion here. Despite the argument and evidence given by the press release, it appears the letter to the editor offers a stronger case. Okay, so this first sentence, we're clearly restating our thesis again. Okay, our main idea is, our purpose for writing this is that we believe that Article 2 has a stronger argument, that's better supported. State that again in the first sentence of your conclusion. The author's ideas are backed up by logical explanations. Okay, so again, we're stating the why here, why it's better support, why Article 2 is better supported. Okay, and you need to do that to get the higher points. The arguments used are more logical, and they use more facts and with few speculations. Okay, although the press release offers some fact, it is mainly specced with anticipations and hopes, driven to overshadow any doubt and quell any concern. The letter is penned by a resident of the town and owner of a business, subject to first-hand opinions of the citizens of the district. The press release is pushed by an elected representative who, upon visiting the town a number of times and consulting a small percentage of the constituents, is convinced she understands the majority. Although both parties may very well have the best interests of the district at mind, and either position could be correct, it is clear the letter provides a better supported argument. Okay, so you can see the whole way through that introduction there, we're still drawing comparisons between both articles. And we're saying, yes, Article A has some good points. However, Article B is much stronger for these reasons. Okay, so that's about it. Okay, that was quite a long video, but I hope it helped you. I want to go through that in quite a lot of detail, just to kind of put your mind at rest. The ER, the extended response in the RLA test for GED, it's definitely a good essay. There's a lot going on, and it does test your skills quite a lot. So I hope this video helped you. If it did, just click subscribe on our YouTube page and the little bell, and you'll get loads more free videos like this. Okay, so that's it from me. I'm Teacher Mike from phuketpals.org. Have a good day. All the best.